And good afternoon and welcome. My name is Ryan Belmore. I'm the owner and publisher of What's Up Noop. We are continuing our conversations with the candidates. We have been doing this all month long for the last 3 weeks. We have brought you dozens upon dozens of interviews with the candidates, and we are continuing this week. And we wrap up next week with a couple more. You can find them all available on whatsupnoop.com, all the way from school committee all the way up to Congressional District 1 and 2, Governor, and everything else in between. Available on whatsupnoop.com, as well as our schedule of upcoming interviews. You can also take all of these to make it easier to compare and contrast our interviews. You can download them as podcasts as well, which is available on our website. So we're making it as easy as possible. Mr. Frank Prosnich joins me. Hi, Frank.
Hi, how you doing, Ryan? I just want to let people know that if there is a candidate that you didn't see and didn't make it on, it's not that they weren't invited. All but I think one of the general officer candidates have been on, and I sent out one more invite to it was a lieutenant governor candidate for the Republican Party. I sent out one last invite to him last night. Yeah, certainly they are welcome to do what they like, but want to give them the opportunity.
We have hounded some of these candidates, and we've accommodated them by moving. I think I'm one candidate. I'm on 6th or 7th time being scheduled. So they've all been invited. And if they're not there for some reason, we have asked them why. We have not gotten many replies. You can go and ask them why.
Yep.
Vote.ri.gov. Election day is 2 weeks away from tomorrow. You can go on there. You can find out where to early vote from now till November 7th. Which is 2 weeks from today. You can find out where on 2 weeks from tomorrow that you're going to go on election day to vote. And you can see your sample ballot and see all the candidates as well as the questions in your neck of the woods. Frank, we are chatting with – oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said really important to look at that sample ballot because you don't know what might be on there relative to the referendum. And local referendums, some of them are very important issues, as we know in Newport and Middletown. But across the state, there are some significant local questions.
That's it. 10 questions on the back of Newport's ballot, 6 on the back of Middletown's, 3 on the back of Portsmouth's. It varies local issues, state issues. Worth visiting vote.ri.gov to check out all those questions. He is James Diossa, and he is the candidate for Rhode Island General Treasurer. Hey, James.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Frank. Good to see you.
How you doing, Jim?
It has been a while. Last time we talked to you, you were still the mayor of Central Falls.
I know. Time flies. I
can't remember. Frank, do you remember what we were talking about?
I don't. My memory only goes back so far, like back a week at a time.
I'll have to look it up, but it has been a while.
And remind me.
Yes, I'll look it up while you and Frank talk here.
Yeah. So, James, you were when Governor McKee moved in, or when Lieutenant Governor McKee moved into the governor's spot, you were among those that were vying to replace him, but he chose Savita Matos instead. Why the treasurer's role?
Look, thank you, Frank and Ryan, for the opportunity to be with you and talk to your listeners about my candidacy for general treasurer. I think that this is such an important office, and what this office needs in the treasurer's office is someone that has tested executive leadership, and I've had that throughout my last 8 years in office, not only with turning a city around that hit rock bottom during bankruptcy, but also in my final year in office, fending off a pandemic that hit the community very, very hard. And so not only is that executive leadership needed, but also the managing of personnel, managing of programs. And what really excites me about this office is not only to build upon what Seth Magaziner has done, which he's done an incredible job with fixing our schools and building brand new schools, but working with municipal leaders with the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank, but also looking at this pension fund. And what I want to do is continue building our pension fund to be stronger, because it's not just dollars and numbers that I see in this pension fund. It's people who have chosen to give service to our state and who are retired and who deserve the best quality of life, but also to protect our taxpayers and those very active in our pension fund who are working hard today to provide service so that they also can retire very honorably. This is an incredible office that is very exciting, and I feel I can make a big difference for Rhode Islanders, being a lifelong born and bred Rhode Islander myself.
Tell us about your background. Where were you brought up? I know you were mayor of Central Falls for 8 years. You were term limited, so people understand that's why you're not there. That happens. Well, what? Tell us a little bit about your background. What your where you went to school,
Yeah,
some of your employment, and the political history before Central Falls.
absolutely. Yeah, I was born and raised in Central Falls. My family came over from Colombia in the late '70s, and I was, brought up in Central Falls, where my dad had an incredible job at one of the local factories called Osram Sylvania. And because of that job, he was able to buy his first home and ensure that we never missed a meal. And we went through the public school systems in Central Falls, graduating in 2003. I went off to college at Becker College. And after I graduated college, I worked at the College Crusade of Rhode Island, which is a nonprofit organization in our state that works with, the urban core and its students to try to map out a road for them to get to college with a lot of support programs. But during that time, I also ran for city council at the age of 23, and I was elected with 17 votes and served close to almost 3 years before the city had filed for bankruptcy. The mayor was indicted on corruption charges and opened up the seat of the mayor's office, where I decided to launch my candidacy when I was 26 years old. And so, I'm now 37 years old. I've been served my city for close to 11 years, and I'm proud of the work that we did of rebuilding it. I love the fact that it was dubbed the comeback city, and not only was it an important story for a turnaround in our state, but also around the country.
When you take a look at the treasurer's office, what will your top priorities be if elected?
Look, there's absolutely many, but just to name a few, I think one of the very important ones is the pension fund, making sure that although there is, instability in the markets, that we're ensuring that we have the best strategy at hand so that we're mitigating any losses, but also looking down the road 20, 30 years out to ensure that we're continuing on the path of growing the fund, and ensuring that our retirees who are feeling inflation could someday look at getting their COLAs back. But in the short term, I've proposed to work with the governor and the legislature to see if we can bring back a stipend to help alleviate some of the burden of inflation that they're feeling at the gas pump, the supermarket, the prescription medicine. And so that's one of my priorities. And also protecting the taxpayer dollar. The other two is, I know firsthand that education made a difference in my life, and I truly believe that education is the bedrock of our state, and helping our teachers and students have a great learning environment is important to that future. And so I want to continue building new schools, renovating new schools, working with municipal leaders to ensure that they're accessing these dollars. The other piece is the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. Being a former mayor, I know how important local infrastructure projects are and green projects, and I want to continue being a partner by working with the cities and towns, which I was able to do during my time as the president of the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns, where I got to really see the incredible work that each municipal leader was doing in their respective communities, and the help that they could use from their counterparts here at the State House. And so, working with the governor, who is a former mayor, we serve both as mayor. I know that there's an incredible relationship there, and also with the understanding of our incredible lieutenant governor, who's a municipal level leader. There's a true understanding that if we're going to make Rhode Island strong, it's building it from the bottom up. And where do you start? and that's at the municipal level.
Your Republican opponent is a finance director in North Kingstown, and has a substantial financial background. You are a former mayor. What makes you more qualified on paper than he is?
Yeah, I've been a chief executive, and that's a very important distinction. I made important decisions. I've managed programs. I managed people. I manage budgets. I manage pensions. All of what this treasurer's office is looking for the next leader, and so my opponent can't say any of that. He's been in the finance department in his town, which is respectable, but he doesn't have the executive leadership to lead our general treasurer's office into the future. And so this is about having a candidate that has tested leadership and the person who's going to make the tough decisions. I've made those tough decisions in the past, and it is why I believe I'm the best candidate for the position.
While this may not be directly related to the treasurer's office, it certainly is a financial matter, and that's what I look at campaign finance reform, and I take a look at the delinquencies that keep growing from people who failed to file their election reports or filed them late, and now I think the total that's owed the state is north of $5 million, and some of them with incredibly substantial numbers. Governor Raimondo, when she was in office, had proposed legislation that never went anywhere that would have prohibited somebody who was on that list, on the delinquency list, from running for office if they owed a certain amount of money above a certain threshold, understanding that people can make a mistake here and there. What would you do to reform that system?
Like you said, it has nothing to do with the role that I'm seeking support from voters for. But I think that absolutely there should be a closer look into the system. We know how important it is to file our campaign notices on time and being very transparent with who's donating and what we're spending the money that's been donated to us on. Reason why we made it known that my opponent had filed his quarterly finance reports late, which is important, especially when you're running for statewide, to be very clear and transparent about that. But yes, absolutely. Every time we can look at making laws better and tougher, I think that that's an appropriate first step. And I'm sure that my friend Gregor Mori, who's running for Secretary of State, is very keen on those issues, and I will look to his leadership as well on these particular items.
Yeah, not to say anything, but he's got the best ads. That's Amore.
Yeah, no, Jack Reed joked around this weekend saying that people are going to be looking for Dean Martin on the ballot.
Yeah, there you go.
So
there you go.
That was a good one.
So, looking at the pension system, there are certain sectors, I guess, that get a state pension, but I don't believe they're actually part of the pension system. If I'm correct, that's the judiciary, and I'm not sure what else. Have you looked at that, and do you think everything should be rolled into the state pension system?
Look, there's different benefit structures in the pension fund, and they're all managed very differently. Central Falls, when we moved our system into the state system, we grandfathered some of the benefit structure. We grandfathered the benefit structure by the current members, but any new member entering into the system would go into the MERS system, which is very different. And so there are multiple accounts, and I know that judicial members once had a trust. They're now rolled into the pension fund, and there's law that dictates how these funds work. And my overall job is to ensure that we are moving in the right direction as far as managing the fund, so that we're growing it, mitigating any type of loss in the downturn of our markets, and more importantly, ensuring our taxpayers that we're working hard, and our actives and our retirees that the pension is being managed correctly and in the right direction.
You satisfied with how the unclaimed properties division works?
Look, I think people are always excited to find dollars that they otherwise didn't know existed under their names, and I think the treasurer has done a good job of bringing this program around our state. I want to continue that and being very mindful that not everyone has access to this information, and so I will travel to every city and town to make people aware that this is available, and it's very easily accessible, and more importantly, a good surprise for many. And this can be easily delivered right away.
So I'm not clear whether or not there's what the unfunded pension liability is for the state, but I do know some cities and towns have substantial ones. Are they a concern of yours, and how would you address that?
Yeah, no, this again. I'm a mayor at heart, and so I know that there are some systems that are doing very well, others that need help, and my priority is to help those who need the help, and but more importantly, beyond that, is working with my colleagues who are still managing their own pension fund privately, and I want to work with them and give guidance to see if they need help or if they're interested in moving into the state system. But overall, we have to be very mindful of this across the state and ensuring that we're helping those who need the help the most. And that's where I think I will also make a big difference, because I'm going to build a team that's going to work with our municipal leaders and ensuring that they have all the support they need from my office, and more importantly, the guidance to ensure that they're doing what's right for the pension fund and offer assistance if they want to roll their money into the state system.
I know from time to time there's been discussion, maybe concern, I'm not sure, about the selection of fund advisors, many of them from out of state. And I don't know what the situation is currently, so I don't know what the mix is. But would you favor fund advisors that have businesses within Rhode Island, or will you just leave it as an open process?
I'll leave it as an open process and ensure that the best qualify for any position or any appointment in this office. I think that we have a fiduciary responsibility not only to the fund, but to the retirees, the current actives, and the taxpayers, to ensure that the best are doing the best in investing their money, taking care of the money, growing the fund, and again, try to mitigate any loss and any downturn of our markets. And so, we have a state investment commission where I would chair it with other members, and this commission will make the best decision in a very fiduciary responsible way to the fund.
Are there areas of the Treasury that are not well known by most of the people that do significant work but need to be promoted a little bit more?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot. I think one in particular is the Victims Compensation Fund. This is an important fund for people who have suffered at the consequences of domestic violence and really need any opportunity to get out of their household. This fund offers, some dollars to allow the victim to leave the premise right away, find some good housing in the temporarily until they get back on their feet, and also other services that may be needed by the victim and dealing with the situation that's impacting them at the present time. And so this is an important fund that I know our current treasurer has worked well with our municipal police departments, and I'm going to continue doing that because it's a very well known program in our police community, but we need to get it out to the community much more. Obviously, we don't like the fact that domestic violence still happens, but we cannot turn a blind eye. And so I want to be very uh, intentional about working with our police department and other domestic violence organizations who do incredible work every single day. The other piece is financial literacy. Financial
Very
literacy
good.
is
Yeah.
important. My fiance was a lead sponsor of this bill in the Senate side, and Treasurer Magaziner has been incredibly loud on this important topic. And I think it's another piece that goes hand in hand with my core beliefs of education, and financial literacy is one of them. We need to inform our future leaders, our future students of diverse backgrounds all over our state that this is an important tool for them to know. Financial literacy is incredible, not only when they go off to college or take on their first job, but also they're looking to invest in their first new home or in a business. These are all tools that I believe make each person incredibly stronger, and I think that with these tools of financial literacy, um, we know that we can count on them being a little more successful because of it.
I can't recall whether or not the financial literacy bill or General Treasurer Magazine's efforts extended beyond high school to adults, who certainly a lot of them are in need of financial literacy. Do you know? And if not, is that an area that you would look at?
Look, I think any time that we can empower people with financial literacy tools, I believe that we should take that opportunity. And we saw it in Central Falls, where we worked very closely with our local credit union, that being Navigant Credit Union, where we would hold not only business roundtables but community meetings about the importance of having good credit, the importance of having savings, the importance of looking at different financial decisions that could have a short-term and long-term impact. And that's important for our residents across the state. And I will take that opportunity, if given, to ensure not only that our high school students are getting the best information on financial literacy, but also any adults.
I've always viewed the general officers as not only doing their specific jobs, but also being among the leaders in the state and speaking out on other issues. We are in this country where, in some areas, the right to vote is under attack, pretty dramatically, and I think we're okay in this state. How do you react to all of that, and what do you say to people who may actually support those kinds of measures?
It's scary. It's scary because, just to know that not too long ago, people really fought for the right to vote, and not only for women, but people of color. And to see this come under attack across our country is devastating. And that's why we really have to elect leaders that represent not only good government, but understand how important and how much sacrifice has gone into the right for us to vote and to live in a country that benefits from so many freedoms. And I can't tell you that never in my short 37 years on this earth did I ever think I would experience something like that because of what I read previously in history books. And so I believe strongly that we must do everything to protect that democracy. And that's just not at the state level. It has to start from the municipal level on up. And we need to be very clear with the information that we provide and call out lies when there are lies. And more importantly, like I said earlier, elect leaders who hold this core belief to be true. And
James, you said that your parents came from Colombia, I believe.
Yes.
Tell us their story a little bit.
Yeah, their story. Well, it's very different from my life here, growing up in the United States, being born and raised in Central Falls. They came from Colombia in a tough time where, corruption was rampant in government, and the drug cartels were taking up their part of violence, and they knew that if they ever wanted to have a family with the opportunities of being able to get a higher education and have a good quality of life, that the United States would be the country where they could do that. And they showed me through hard work. My dad working at Osram, Sylvania for almost 33 years of his life. We never missed a meal. We always had a roof over our head. But the basic principle of it all is, with hard work, you can pretty much achieve and attain anything you want in this country. And that's why I've been so inspired and wanting to give back not only to Central Falls but now the state. And I hold that core belief strongly to me. And I want to create more opportunities for those who are younger and future generations so that they have the same opportunities that I do.
Tell me why having I'm not saying immigrants who are here for any nefarious reason, but having a flow of immigrants into this country, why is that important?
Look, I think it's important on so many different levels. This country was built by immigrants, and we've had a lot of successful stories of different people coming from all over the world and becoming incredible doctors, incredible nonprofit leaders, business leaders, and I think that's the beauty of this country, is that if I were to be born in Colombia, I don't think I would have had the opportunities of going to college or becoming an elected official. And so not only does it contribute to the fabric of our country, but also it's an incredible representation of what this country means to all of us. And hard work pays off. Being of diverse backgrounds brings great important solutions to our country, and I'm so proud of and thankful to this country and what it did for my family.
If elected, what do you think that will mean to the Latino community and to kids in particular?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what the election of Barack Obama did for me. It's the reason why I stepped into politics. I was really inspired by his candidacy, and he was the reason that he changed my mindset and wanting to go back into Central Falls and helping out and giving back to the community that did so much for my family. And I am a Latino candidate, but I'm going to serve all Rhode Islanders in the best possible way, and by doing that, I'm going to show it through honesty, integrity, and transparency, and ensure that every decision that I make in the Treasurer's office is in the benefit of all Rhode Islanders. And that's been my number one priority during this candidacy, and more importantly, throughout my public service in the last 10 years.
And James, I have one last question, and then open up to anything that you would like to add. What are you hearing on the campaign trail? What are people telling you their biggest concerns are?
Oh, they're feeling squeezed. They're feeling squeezed at the gas pump, at the grocery stores, especially retirees. It breaks my heart to see and hear stories about some of our retirees who are on food stamps. It breaks my heart because, again, what I've said earlier is, they gave back so much to our state through different types of services, and the last thing we can do is give them the best quality of life, and that to me is a priority if I get into the Treasurer's office. But that's mainly what I hear. People are feeling squeezed with the high inflation cost and trying to make ends meet, and that to me is a priority to help assist. And if I'm elected, I'm going to work with the other general offices and see what best solutions we can bring for Rhode Islanders.
James, anything we've missed?
No, you've been great, Frank.
Well, thank you. Great to have you on. And I don't know, Ryan, you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm mute.
You're mute. Nicely
You would
done.
think I would get it by now. That's the second time today I've done that. It's a
Oh,
Monday.
did you find the old clips?
That's it. I did not. I've been looking for it. But
Yeah,
you piqued my ears when you mentioned Colombia. I'm heading there in April for a wedding.
Oh, good. Where? What part?
Cartagena?
Yeah, it's good. It's very
Yes.
warm. Very warm.
Excellent. Well, yeah, we just a couple weeks to go.
All right. No, and I appreciate the opportunity to join all of you, and I'm sure we'll talk more. And again, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to speak.
Well,
with
it's
you.
great to have you on, James, and good luck.
Very
Likewise.
best of luck.
Thank you.
That is James Diossa, and he is the Democratic candidate for Rhode Island General Treasurer. And you can visit vote.ri.gov to see your sample ballot, see the other candidates, compare and contrast. You can visit whatsupnuke.com if you want to rewatch this video, share this video, download it as a podcast, listen to his opponent, or anything else, all available on whatsupnuke.com. Mr. Prosnitz, thank you, my friend.
Well, thank you.
And that is Frank Prosnitz, and I am Ryan Belmore. And again, whatsupnuke.com for all of our interviews. Thanks for watching.